Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. So this update starts with the launch of the private beta, which I launched this morning. And it was a quiet launch, just a few emails going out, and expected some bugs. Did not expect the email to be the bug, but it turned out that's the case. Sent out about 60-ish emails this morning, and it looks like almost a fifth of them just didn't go through. So just figure out what's going on there. And so some teething issues with the server regarding that. But as far as the rendering goes, the usual amount of bugs, I would say. The MIDI files that we're parsing are so unpredictable. There's so many things that can go wrong or that can go sideways and whatnot. So we're getting some bug reports. Not really anything brand new, just kind of different flavors of the same sort of things. But it's going well, and I'm continuing to test here, and that's going well. I expect probably to run the beta for, well, an indefinite amount of time. I'm thinking at least a week. And I would have run it longer, but some other news happened, and I'll get to that in a minute. But so those of you who play Valheim, I don't know if you do, but I do, know that that's a program that a game that's been in like a beta, or at least it was. I don't know if it still is, for a really long time. I think like a year or two in beta, but I don't mind doing that with cantai. It's just a label, and all it means is it's still in development, and I imagine I'm going to be continuing to develop it for at least a couple, 2, 3, 7, 12, however many years to come, which is cool. So just continue the extended beta. And the next thing we're going to do once we get all of this MIDI stuff sorted out is add Music XML support, which is going to be, I think, a major improvement for a lot of us. Because there are a lot of things that a Music XML file has and does that a MIDI file can't and doesn't do. For instance, lyrics. MIDI files do not natively support lyrics. They're kind of tacked on and hacked on, and they really don't belong. And they weren't part of the spec in the beginning. They still aren't, and it's just it's a mess, really. The whole MIDI spec needs to be updated again, but that's not really up to me. So, Music XML. The cool thing about Music XML is the removal of the ambiguity of MIDI. So MIDI has no notion of things like, well, what note and what lyric belong together. There are approximate timings and relative timings and things like that. But in the Music XML file, you will have a note object and very specific, here are the lyrics. This is a sub-object of the notes. And it's a one-to-one relationship. You have your notes and you have your lyrics. Really easy to read. So that's going to be the next thing we add. And all of the other things that go along with the Music XML file will be included. One of the things that we'll be doing, in addition to using an LLM for the phoneme processing, we're going to be using a multimodal model that will be converting the Music XML into a PDF and then actually using a vision model to read the PDF and actually look at the score and see what the markings are and the relationship between notes and slurs and all that good stuff. And that will bring a major enhancement, not only to parsing scores, but performing them. The reason I did MIDI first is because it's a little bit quicker startup. So you read a MIDI file and you have the data you need a little bit quicker, especially when you're talking about timing, note timing. And Music XML is a little less precise in regards to timing, but we'll get that working as well. But another reason why we did MIDI first was because there's a much wider audience. And pretty much anybody that has a software that does MIDI and can manage to mangle in lyrics will be able to use cantai that way. So I don't have a timeline for that, because of my next announcement, which is the most recent update to MuseScore, which just came out like 2 days ago, does in fact include our changes. Meaning that as soon as we are done cleaning up the debris from the beta for the web renderer, then we're going to jump back into MuseScore and finish up all the loose ends and get that packaged and get it out as soon as possible. I'm thinking a week or two at the most, because we are mostly there. And the reason we stopped development on MuseScore and went to the web renderer was because we didn't really know when it was going to be ready. But we know now because it's ready. And so that's very exciting. So MuseScore will be ready next. And we're still waiting on Dorico. We're still waiting on Sibelius. Sibelius just came out with an update. Did not contain what we were hoping it did. But not super surprising, because we haven't had yet a really close dialogue with Avid. We've had a little bit of communication, but not quite at the depth that we were hoping for, and definitely not at the depth that we have with MuseScore and Dorico. So we're going to keep pushing in that direction. We'll keep building that relationship and see if we can get that straightened out. And we're still watching Dorico, seeing when that comes out. So what this means in practical terms is those of you who have a lifetime license, or those of you who are buying any kind of plan, which you'll be able to do next week, you will be able to use the web renderer or MuseScore when it comes out. And the way that MuseScore will look is, initially, the only thing you'll have to do manually in MuseScore to get it to work is to just select your MuseScore file. So you open MuseScore, you load a score up, and then you assign the cantai plugin, and you point it to the MuseScore file that you're working in. But that's it. So then what happens is the plugin latches onto that file, it watches it, and it renders it, and whenever there's a change, it re-renders the sections it needs to, and so on. So there's just that one step of having to locate your file, but that's temporary. That's only going to be for as long as we need to do that, because we just have one more change to make to get that in place. But once you've done that in a file, you don't need to do it again. So you hit save, and any changes you've made will get saved and re-rendered. So that's that. And so like I said, anybody that has the any one of the licenses or plans, you have access to all the plugins. So if you regularly use more than one of these, then you can just jump back and forth between them. I really don't mind at all what you do. That you own it, you do it. That's pretty much it right now, except to mention that the web beta is also doing a lot for us in the case of MIDI files, because we came up with some issues when reading MIDI files that we didn't know about before, and we'll be able to apply everything that we learned with a web renderer to the MuseScore and all the others via the VST. And that's pretty much it right now. Oh, that's not it right now. Yeah, we have an angel investor. Angel investor number one. I can't give details as to how much this person is investing or who this person is, but suffice to say, it's somebody with a lot of experience with technology, kind of a Silicon Valley type, and very enthusiastic about the project. And we've had several discussions, and things are very promising. I'm just waiting on a little bit of paperwork, LLC and whatnot on my end, so that this person can get things rolling. And what this will do basically is, since my funds are running pretty low, this will help to make sure that we're solvent as we grow. So when I flick the switch next week and allow anybody who wants to sign up, then this will make sure that we have the cash on hand to make sure that we can service everybody that comes along. And so that's the first step there. So that is some pretty big news, and things are going very well, and I appreciate all the feedback I'm getting from everybody. And that's it. So I will talk to you in the next update, and thank you very much.